to find they've got a neck. That they've got neck vertebra. What's the movement? Can they do it with rotation? Can they do it with side bending in their neck? Can they do it with a little bit of flexion or extension in their neck? What possibilities have they got through their neck? And one of the ways you'll really be able to tell what's happening in their neck is what their shoulders are doing. Yeah? So if I'm side bending, what are my shoulders going to do? If I'm turning, what are my shoulders going to do? Yeah? If I'm flexing or extending, if I'm using pecking, what are my shoulders going to be doing? So you'll really see their habits really clearly about what they allow through their upper back and neck. Go, Karen. And then you can go back and do it on your own again with your hands on the wall. And so you can go back and do it on your own again with your hands on the wall and just see, did that inform something by having someone's just gently constraining my head a little? Very gentle constraint. Something allowed a few more possibilities through there. Now, could you do it with one hand on the wall? And can you find a way to bring either leg up with one hand on the wall? And are your shoulders still alive to this movement? So that arm that's holding the wall, can it still bend and straighten? Can it still go up a little bit or down a little bit? So you're looking for more and more options. So that supporting arm is so soft, so responsive, but it's still taking a little bit of weight. Are you doing it on your own now? Sorry. Yeah, with one hand. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention over here. Obviously got neglect over here. Other arm when you're ready. Is it different with this arm on the wall? And for many of us, usually there's quite a difference in the possibilities that we allow. Okay, no hands. And how do you keep that softness through your chest? And find different ways you can bring your leg through, and your arms are soft. And maybe they could flap a bit while you're doing it. Maybe you can be a bit of a bird and your wings can flap and you can still bring one leg up or down. I must admit I do this quite a bit with kids in FI. Just to really get them, make it a bit of a game. You know, how do you bring your leg through? Okay, come up to standing. Have a bit of a walk around. You can stay there, Karen. We're going back to the mats. And just see what's that done to your walking. Maybe for you it's brought in a little bit more side bending. So could you put a little bit of side bending into your walk at the moment? After we've explored all those options, how would you put a little bit of side bending into your walk? Huh? And how would you put your flexion extension into your walk? What were we doing this morning? And then how would you put rotation into your walk? And come back to your mat. And have a rest on your back. And just get a sense of yourself at the moment. So the more we have this ability to have all of these possibilities within our system, the more adaptability we have, and the more we can adapt to our environment rather than maybe having to always adapt the environment to us. Where do you feel your breathing at the moment? Is there any new space that's opened? Or maybe a space that's open that you've had before but you'd forgotten about. Feel the softness in the front of your throat, the length of the back of your neck. And roll your head just a little left and right and feel where that would be rolling from at the moment. How clearly. Feel that movement, and then nodding your head a little, up and down. And how does that feel? Just small yes or no we're doing. A little bit of yes and a little bit of no. Does anything feel different? Okay. Come back to your hands and knees. And place the top of your head on the floor. And again, padding. If you know you want padding, please have it. Hands in the isosceles triangle. And notice after doing that, is it a little, for a lot of you, it's quite different that your elbows aren't so far out to the side. How did that happen from doing these movements? So put your arms where you were initially, many of you had them. So your elbows were sort of out, a long way from your torso in this isosceles triangle. And then feel that difference when you can more have your elbows in by your side. Feel how close the top of your head is to your knees at the moment. Is it possible to get it a little closer? And again, you just play around with that. Bring your toes tucked under. Feel how you do that. Leave your toes tucked under and gently rock the top of your head, just a small amount, a little bit forward and back. So again, you're doing a yes movement. And then a little bit left and right, which isn't really a no movement. It's more a little bit of side bending. And begin to lift one knee. And feel, what direction do you lift it in now? Without thinking, do you lift it out to the side? Do you lift it straight up? What you're looking for is that at any moment in time, I've still got that very small ability to roll my head a little bit forward and back and a little left and right. Just tiny, tiny movement. And can you really feel that you can begin to sense, it's great to see, the power of the lift isn't from your toes. Your toes are there, but you're not pushing into the floor with your toes. It's more you're lifting your pelvis that's putting weight onto your toes. So you're lifting your pelvis, which is putting your weight onto your toes. Which lets your knee lift. And you lift one knee, the other knee. And that you're finding more and more that your pelvis lifts, so that you lift one and then you can lift the other one as well. So you've got both knees lifted. And you lift your pelvis even higher, staying on your toes. And then up there you could bend one knee a little bit, the other knee a little bit. As if you're sort of walking. And then begin to find a way to walk your feet a little bit closer to your hands. But with every step, your pelvis gets higher. So you have both knees lifted, and with every step, you feel your pelvis gets asked to go a little bit higher. And you take as many rests as you like. and that your belly can be soft. And rest on your back. Bend your knees. Think of the point at the top of your head. And begin to roll your pelvis up. A little bit what we were doing yesterday, remember? And we were immediately looking for the relationship between your pelvis and your head. So that it wasn't a sequence of rolling your pelvis up, but that as soon as your pelvis started to lift, your head did something as well. And start to see if you can feel as your chin comes down, as you lift your pelvis higher. So there's a particular point in the trajectory. You get your pelvis to a particular height where all of a sudden you'll feel your chin wants to come down. Could you also get the sense that your sternum could lift towards your chin? So it's not just the chin, your chin coming down, but it's the top of your sternum lifting towards your chin. So they're both doing virtually the same amount of movement. And feel what that asks you to find in your very upper back. And how high you can come to rest towards your shoulders. So your head stays down all the time on the floor. So you're saying, how high can I lift my pelvis? So that I can begin to get a sense of the back muscles all along my back, from my tailbone all the way up to the base of my neck. So not your neck itself, but right up to the base of your neck. Engaging to help lift me higher. And how obviously, if I'm going to engage my extensors like that, the flexors have to be getting longer. And has this again got anything, this ability to lift my sternum like this, has it got anything to do with what we were doing with the breathing and your belly? So do you want to push your upper belly out to get this movement? Or some of you, you'll get it easier if you pull your upper belly in. Which will just free, for some of you, your ribs a little bit more, rather than pushing your belly out. Okay, so now go back to the calf again, where you're going to lift both feet. And then you're going to drop them down and your pelvis is going to lift. And do you feel as your pelvis pops up, can you get more and more of your back engaged, and can you feel where's your sternum going to go? As to let your pelvis pop up. So that your legs can land more and more softly. So again, your head doesn't lift. As soon as you feel your head might want to start lifting, just don't go as high. Just don't go as high. So really stay within where your neck and your head feel quite soft on the ground. So really don't worry if for you at the moment your pelvis doesn't start to lift until your feet are closer to the ground. Just find where you can most clearly get a sense of this power of your back. That's what this is about. This ability for you to feel all of these muscles of your back being able to pop your pelvis up into the air. Okay. Pause for a moment. I just thought I'd get you really tired before you go home for the weekend. Have mercy. And again, you know, take care of yourselves. And again, really keep coming back. If my neck is soft, I'm okay. If my neck is soft, I'm okay. Okay, lift your legs above your chest. And again, can you go back to lifting your pelvis high and having your hands supporting somewhere under your pelvis? So your legs are heading more toward above your head. Just somewhere for you where it's comfortable. Yeah? And could you begin to feel, if I do it with Ella, that as one leg starts to go away, your sternum lifts more toward your chin. Great. Yeah? As one leg starts to lift away, so to go forward, away from you, toward the floor, that there's something about this movement of your sternum. That as your leg goes away, your sternum's actually going to come closer to your chin, not away. And you know, again, you feel both ways. What happens if I reach my leg and my upper sternum moves away from my chin? And again, as I said, it's great to see some of you really taking it easy, because it's really asking for a lot of length in your upper back and your neck that some of you don't have, so don't push it. Okay, have a rest again. And just feel what's that done to your breathing. So again, we're coming at this freedom in the upper back, in the shoulders, in the neck, using the levers of your legs. We're coming at it in lots of different orientations so that you can make it more your own. back on your hands and knees again. And if you've had enough, really, just rest. And if you are resting, it can still be really interesting observing others doing it. And your head on the floor, hands in your isosceles triangle, toes tucked under. Check that your head's free. The little bit of forward, back, left and right, check it's free. Lift one knee, lift the other, but take your time. Go through the process at the speed you need until you can get both knees straight and you can walk on your toes. So that you can come to a point where maybe one knee could begin to rest on one elbow. Or the other knee. Or you could think of both toes staying on the ground and you could think, could I take my right knee toward my left elbow? What do I have to do to take my right knee toward my left elbow? Or my left knee toward my right elbow? And again, feel how every one of these is going to ask your shoulders to do something, your upper back to do something, your sternum to do something, and your belly to be soft. Okay. So one last little bit, and this is purely for the ones who are doing it. If you can get your elbows onto your knees onto your elbows. Yep. Could you now point your toes and lift your heels to your buttocks? Point your toes and lift your heels to your buttocks. And could that make you taller? Or would it make you smaller? And have a rest on your back. I can still, as I said, remember this vividly from our training. But I think I got an elbow to a knee. But boy, did I learn to look after myself. To really pay attention. To knowing when to be satisfied. And to really realise that the change I got, if we're talking about integrating change, and I was prepared to stay within not too great a challenge, that the change was more. So again, it's not at all important that you get onto your head. It's just another variation to give us another way of finding these possibilities. So if we think of that's one of the big themes, just see as you're lying there, if you put your hands under your collarbones, what do you feel happening there at the moment with your breathing? If you put your hands in your armpits, what do you feel may be happening there as you're breathing? This area that for so many of us is a bit of an unknown. And then to begin to feel that if that's available, If it's free to breathe, I know that I'm not using it to hold myself up. What does that allow differently in your belly, in your pelvis? So let's just try this. If you think of the movement that you did in the ATM this morning, the one you did with your fellow students, try it now, but thinking about having this space up here. Yeah, well, if you were inside lying, or maybe you were on your back, and obviously some people were teaching, so they're going to do the movement that they were teaching. But just, yeah, the movement from the ATM that Ray taught to you this morning. Yeah? So Ray taught you, yeah? And just go back and see, is it different? Is something different about that movement? From having this space here, or this hopefully little bit more sense of possibility in here. And was this where I was looking? Come up to standing. Well done, you've survived a week. It's been a lot. Well done, really. You've been really engaged. Where's the sense of the top of your head now? What's the length of the front and the back of your neck? The length of the right and left sides of your neck? Where your shoulders are sitting at the moment? You're just sort of going to say, do a backstroke or a freestyle, some sort of windmilly type movement. How does that feel at the moment? How much do you have to move your head? Yeah? So how do we get this idea that I can keep the top of my head, that I've got all this ability through my upper torso to rotate and side bend and imagine if you were going to throw a ball at the moment. How would it feel? Serve, tennis, anything that you can think of that you do. Yeah? And then, to finish off with the last little bit, what would it feel like at the moment to teach an ATM from this place? Have a walk around. And see if after doing a lesson like this where, you know, what's your sense of your internal and your external world after doing a lesson like this? Is it a little bit easier to hold them both there at the same time when your head gets this freedom? So we'll leave you, your homework over the weekend is just to notice, what difference does it make if the top of my head is in my image? And we'll see you on Monday. What's it like if you just carry with you this idea of how having an image where the top of your head is, no? Influences your movement or your being in the world. And remember, we have to